I really took, at that point, I really learned from the students, and I personally identified with the ethnic student movements. Politically, I was more aligned with the black student movement than I was initially with the Asian students. Because Asian students came after, they were also inspired by the black student movement. And there was also a lot of angst, a lot of not wanting to share with your family that you were becoming, radicalized, parents not wanting you to be caught dead in a demonstration, and, heaven forbid if your picture was in the paper or you were on TV. There was a lot of that going on in the Asian American community. In the black community, you had the pillar institutions of the community leading the charge, so to speak. The churches and the civil rights, the NAACP and groups like that were very much in the forefront of open housing or, whatever it was. And so it was a stronger, more powerful movement initially. And in fact, I remember this was back in undergraduate school when they were registering voters in Mississippi, black voters in Mississippi. I did my little amateurish fundraising efforts, and I raised significant money. And then I also figured out how I could take some of my college money and use it to go myself. And so I remember having this very emotional discussion with Larry Gossett in the Hub, because I said, I've raised enough money for, I can't remember, maybe 2 or 3 people to go. And I also have my own money to go myself, and he just flat out told me I couldn't go. And I was like really devastated, and I couldn't understand at that time. I was too naive, and I remember him saying, you don't understand, and you will probably get killed if you go. And I'm not so sure that he really understood it that well either at that time. But, he said that to me, and I was like furious, after I had raised this money for other people to go, and then I had my own money separately to go. Of course, I hadn't asked my parents or anything. But I was determined to go. And he said, and I can still remember it, the best thing you can do is go talk to your own people about what we're doing. And it was really hard for me at that naive point politically to understand what he was saying. But I did end up then doing a lot of work in sort of the established part of the Asian American community. I became a board member of the Japanese American Citizens League. I was involved in more mainstream things, kind of nudging towards a civil rights agenda. At my church, I went with my pastor to the first open housing march. I think we were the only Asian Americans there. I sort of got involved on that level. I remember being a young adult guest preacher at my church to talk about Dr. King, and there were things that I did in my own community, so that I did sort of do what Larry suggested, although at the time I didn't think I was doing it because he suggested it. Right. I was just angry, that he had the audacity to tell me I couldn't go. We laugh about it now. But he was right. I had no concept about the difference between covert and overt racism and, the physical violence and all of that. I mean, intellectually I had read about it and heard about it, but I really had no idea what it was like in the Deep South at that time.